The next thing we want to do is allow our users to create blog posts. So after they log in, we want to have a new link here that says New Post that when clicked brings the user to the new post page where we can enter a blog post title and a body and save it. Let's take a look at how we implement that. Okay, here we are looking at our home page, and we added a new check to see if the user is logged in, and if so, we display a link to our post create route. Let's take a look at the logic for the post create route. So we added a new posts.js file that handles all the CRUD routes for managing our blog posts. Let's take a look at what we have so far. We have just one route set up, which is a get route for our post create. That's the link that we added to the home page. And we have a couple things going on here. The most obvious one is on line 6, that we just render our create.jade file that has the form in it, that renders the create blog post form. And another thing that's a little different here is on line 1, we are bringing in a new piece of middleware that we've named logged in. And we're passing that as a second argument to app.get. And that's a special piece of middleware that will get executed only on this route. And we'll reuse this on some other routes too, because what it does is validates that there is a currently logged in user before proceeding. Let's take a peek at what that looks like. Alright, on the top here you can see the contents of our isLoggedIn middleware. It's very simple, just a function that receives the request, response, and next parameters. And on line 3, we are checking to see if a session exists and a user is in it. And if not, we'll redirect them back to the login page. Otherwise, everything is fine, and we'll send them on to the next function, which will be our route handler. And here is our view for creating a blog post. It's very simple, just a form with a couple inputs. One for the blog post title, one for the blog post body, and then a submit button. And that's it. Now that we have our blog post form ready to go, we need to handle the values that are being submitted to our web app. So what we have here, what we're looking at, is our posts.js file, our routes that handle all of our blog posts, and we have set up a handler to grab the post requests that come in for our post/create route. We want to validate that the user is logged in, and if they are, then we just grab the form elements, the body and the title that have been submitted. We use the currently logged in user from the session, and we pass these parameters to blogpost.create. Blog post is our model which we defined, and we'll look at that shortly. Now, granted that everything worked out okay, our callback will get executed, an error will be passed if one occurred, and we can just pass the error on. Otherwise, we will receive a blog post object, and we will redirect that user to the URL that shows the blog post. Another thing we want to do here is tweet about our blog post whenever we create one, and we'd like to automate that so we don't have to manually do that ourselves. And that's all going to get handled in the blog post model as well. So let's take a peek at that.